It was back in December when lawmakers passed the revised spending cuts bill and in adding their amendments introduced an across-the-board 10% pay cut for all elected officials and unclassified employees making more than $50,000. The amendment was proffered by Senator Aline Yamashita.
So after we passed the measure that said 10% of us would get cut, I got lots of phone calls and text messages and email from GITA, UOG, GDOA, the OPA. And after reading the letter from the Chief Justice and watching the GMH chiefs on TV, I thought, wow, a mistake was made. A mistake. And as leaders, Madam Speaker, we know when it's time to own up to a mistake and to try to fix it.
And in trying to fix the mistake, lawmakers discussed Bill 543 on the floor today, which eliminated the 10% cut for the unclassified employees and instead would only be applicable for elected officials making over $50,000 a year. Vice Speaker B.J. Cruz, who oversaw all of the public hearings on the governor's spending cuts bill, said the pay cut provision did not have unintended consequences, saying he supported it because his intentions were to protect classified employees, adding it would have been better to affect those making more than $50,000 because they could afford it as opposed to those making less.
But we're going to holler and scream because we're taking 10% from someone who's in the office, administrative office, making 120? If there is a deficit, there's a deficit. If there isn't, then let's just not vote for this bill, because there obviously isn't.
By the end of this morning's session, discussion on the pay cut provision didn't matter, as Senator Frank Bloss Jr. introduced an amendment which passed to cut out the section entirely. Instead, he asked his colleagues to work together, including with Adelup, to talk about the government's true financial position.
As I leave this body, please, let's not degrade ourselves. Let's not think that by reducing our salaries in this fashion, reduce the salaries of other people in this fashion is going to mean anything.
Senator Ben Pangilinan, meanwhile, didn't even vote in favor of the spending cuts bill, but today proffered an amendment to include the governor and lieutenant governor in a provision in Bill 543 that eliminates annual leave benefits for senators.
If we're questioning the use of time and that the only people we're accountable for is to the people of Guam, the use of time when members travel and so forth, then I think it should be and we should also just include the elimination of the annual lump sum payments for governor and lieutenant governor, and that's my amendment.
We should note in the governor's original spending cuts bill, the governor, lieutenant governor, and executive staffers were included, but lawmakers gutted it from the final version of Bill 507. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Ken Quintanilla.